Like, what is
That's a first.
what has Zach Wilson been showing you on tape, especially recently?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job managing the game, and I think he's got a lot of weapons around him, that he's utilizing. And so, I thought he had a really good game last game. Again, sometimes you watch the games in sequence, sometimes you watch the games in cut-ups. But I see a guy that's getting better. And again, the weapons around him, they play good complementary football with their defense on the other side of the ball as well.
What's the plan for Nakobe this week in practice? And if he is healthy, is he still the starter there?
Yeah, we'll see. We don't have to make that decision right now. We're going to see how he looks out there today. Obviously it will be a little bit more individual periods, a little less team periods, but we'll see how the day goes. And we don't have to make that decision on starting or anything like that right at this particular time. And do we have a plan in our head? Obviously, I think that's something that we keep tight though for a competitive advantage.
With a young guy like Nakobe, what do you ask of him during like a month layoff like this to keep him engaged?
You don't have to ask much of him. He wants to be around at all times. He's a football junkie. He's always trying to be around it. You saw that he was at the game. Sometimes it's not all, you don't always take guys to the away games. He really wanted to be there. He was great on the sideline. Obviously, we'd rather have him on the field. But he was great on the sideline with his teammates, saying what he saw. And so I thought the way he went about his time off, again, we'll see what's going on as the week progresses, but the way he went about his time off was really continuing to try to grow and get better. You just can't keep him out of the building and can't keep him out of the film room.
What goes through your mind and what changes about long-term preparation when you see Aaron Rodgers go down like that and know he's not going to play against you guys? After an offseason of thinking, we're going to face the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, how does it change for you and your staff once you find out there is no Aaron Rodgers?
Obviously when Aaron got hurt, we were getting ready for our next game, right? Was that our second game? We were getting ready for Minnesota. So you try to stay in the moment as much as you possibly can. And not think about anything else. And that's a hard mentality to have. But I know it's the right mentality, is to be completely locked in to where you are right now. And so that wasn't something that was on our mind. And you cross bridges when you get to them. And now we're on the bridge of the Jets, and we'll get ready for the players that they have on their team.
I mean, during the offseason,
Didn't think about it.
Not at all.
No, that's for you guys to do, not for me to do. My job is to get the players ready to play, and my job is to get them ready day in, day out to get ready to play, and that's their job as well. And be completely locked in for, again, not a mindset I'm asking anybody to understand, but I know the right mindset to have is be completely locked in. And that's something that you don't have to do that, right? I do, and the team does. Fans don't have to do that. We do. We have to be complete. If you slip up in this league and you start looking ahead, if we would have looked towards the Jets in the offseason or Aaron Rodgers or anything like that, then we wouldn't have been ready to tackle the day that we had ahead of us. So again, not a mindset I'm asking anybody to understand. But a mindset that's necessary to be successful, in my opinion, in this league.
While you're on that bridge, however, can you see the difference between, what the Jets' offense is like with Aaron Rodgers and with
We didn't watch any of the preseason or anything like that, and I don't think it was many plays in that before he did get injured. So, yeah.
To follow up on that locked-in thought, you've been doing this for a while now. What is the most difficult part of coaching? Managing the people or the X's and O's type stuff?
All very important, right? I wouldn't say one's more important than the other, but I do know that coaching there has to be a connection. There has to be a belief that the guy that us as coaches can get the player better, right? That's how the relationship starts. So I say that a lot, to our coaches, the relationship's really important, but the relationship can really take off once the player realizes that you can help them get better. And so it kind of goes hand in hand there. Am I answering your question enough right there?
Yeah, well, I meant, now that you've been in it, so every
Yeah.
coach pretty much says, oh, this is a little bit different than
You know,
expected.
I guess I've been in it a long time too. Like I don't consider my 3 years as the head coach, you know, like it's the same way you go about like the X's and O's and the relationships with the players or managing the players is the same as, you know, just with bigger aspects of the group, like, right? So when you're a quarterback coach, you got one guy or 3 guys. When you're a receiver coach, you got a couple more. When you're offense coordinator, you got a couple more. When you give the team a couple more. So it's, you know, I just think both parts are very, very important. To manage guys, though, they got to know that you care about them and that you're connected with them. So, but both is, yeah, I'm not done yet. But both are very important. Go ahead.
Robert Saleh was asked about defending the tush push. He said he wants to make sure.
Of course he was.
He said he wants to make sure Jalen gets 11 kisses after the snap. I was curious, as the play gets more attention, do you see more teams like going after Jalen specifically?
I mean, shoot, you watch our tape, you know that's part of our offense. I think that the attention, again, like if Coach Saleh is if you know he's in there watching the tape, regardless of if anybody's talking about it, he's trying to do what he can do to defend that play because it shows up. We don't just start defending plays because it's a hot topic in the media, which you know, I understand that. And so, no, I just, you know, they know it's an important play to be able to defend. We know it's an important play for us. I don't think the media attention changes the way defensive coordinators and defensive a head coach like Coach Saleh, of how they prepare and go about their business. And so, no, I don't notice any difference of that. I just know that people are making an emphasis to stop it, and we're making an emphasis to try to grow and get a little bit better at that each time we step out in the field.
Each week different stats come out. You're now you have the highest winning percentage of any Eagles head coach. And then last week it came out that you're now the 8th coach who has started with consecutive 5-0 seasons. Do these things mean anything to you?
Shoot. No, that was the first I heard about it right there. So, yeah, you just broke the news to me, Merrill. It's a journey, right? It's a long journey. I guess when I was 1-0 after we played Atlanta, when we were 1-0, I had the best winning percentage too, right? I've went down since then, you know, whatever it is. Long journey, a lot of season to play. Yeah, so nice, you know, appreciate you letting me know. Doesn't mean much to me.
Nick, you faced Aaron Donald last week. You have Quinnen Williams this week. You said you had to be aware of where Donald was every play. Does Quinnen Williams get that same kind of respect, and do you see any similarities or differences between those?
They're different types of players, but gets the same type of respect. Very good player. Very good player. You know, excellent. And so we have to know where he is on every single play as well. You know, differences. You know, they have differences of who they are as players, but both are very effective with who they are. So yes, we'll be thinking about him. We've been thinking about him a lot, and we'll continue to think about him throughout the rest of the week.
Speaking about that Falcons team, since you've been here, you guys have been better on the road than at home, which is abnormal.
Well, tell me what the records are what's the sample size? What is it? Everything.
Over 3 years, you were, I think, 6-3 your first year, 7-1 on the road last year, and this year.
But it's not like substantially better, is it? Yeah.
I frame it that way.
We play home games on the road, right?
So what is it about being effective as a road team for you guys? Because that's not always the case.
I don't think we think about it like that. We get ourselves ready. We go about the preparation that you would go about. You know, if you're going to play a rain game, you get ready for a rain game. If you're going to play an away game, you get ready for an away game. How do you do that? Well, it's the right nutrition. It's being hydrated for the long plane rides, but it's also practicing crowd noise, right, or the elements that you're going to face. And so we do that. We try to do that with everything. But like I said, I mean, there's been a lot of away games that have been substantially more Eagles fans than the opposing team's fans, which just speaks to the fan base that we have. And so just appreciative. I tried to show my appreciation to the Eagles fans in LA and Tampa. and look forward to the continued support. Not as long of a drive here to get over there to MetLife Stadium, so we'll see how it is. I'm assuming there's a lot of Eagles fans making their way down. Might not be able to tell by the colors that they're wearing, but we'll be able to tell with the noise that is brought.
Nick, was it strange last week to coach without Fletcher Cox on the field?
Oh, shoot, I told him I'd miss him. I knew he'd miss being there. But once you get into the game, again, that's something I definitely said to him and definitely felt going into the game that, I'd love, coming off to the sideline, getting together with the defense and high-fiving Fletch, right? That's always a good moment. So you miss those moments with the guys on the field. I think once the game gets going, you don't. I definitely thought about it. I think Jordan a couple times was sitting on the spot where Fletch normally would sit. Yeah, I mean, you miss them. I guess I don't think too much about it during the game, though, except for the couple times I'm like, oh, shoot, missed them on that one.
Come back this week?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You mentioned Quentin Williams a little bit, and, game planning last week, 99 was obviously in the forefront. They have a great supporting cast as well. Can you afford to hone in on just one guy or something?
They're really outstanding on defense. You're right. They have a really good front seven. A lot of respect for the linebackers that they have. The rest of the defensive line. Then they got really good players in the secondary as well. So and I think they do a great job. Led with Coach Sala of preparing the defense. Got a lot of respect for their defensive coordinator as well. And so, yeah, good question, because you do have to be locked into the best guys, but understanding that, that there's other guys on the team that will make plays as well. And so there's a balance to all that, right? You have to make sure that their best players don't beat you while also maintaining the other good players that they have. And so that's a challenge each week in this league because there's so many good players out there. And so, that'll be a challenge this week for us to make sure that we know where Williams is at all time, but also being able to handle their other good defenders out there as well. So that looks different each week of how we do that.
Nick, when you're trying to balance, getting your playmakers involved, do you ever have to kind of be mindful of, not force feeding, but at the same time, is it important to kind of get them a touch or two when, things aren't going their direction?
It's not always, there's things that you can get them right to get a touch, but it's not, there's still, you don't tell the quarterback just to blast it in there, right? I mean, there's some things you can do maybe on like screens or something like that, but what if that day the screen's not, the defensive line doesn't cooperate with screens or the secondary don't cooperate with screens? Well, you don't want to just waste the play to get a touch. So you try to call different things that you think you play the percentage. Maybe this will get to them, but it's never 100% certain thing, if that makes sense. You're trying like crazy to get the guy a touch, but you don't want to, you want to do what's best for the team at that time. I can say this, again, Devontae was the one that was a little quiet this week, right? As far as his production in the game, that goes in ebbs and flows, and every time, every game, the pass game runs through those three guys, and then sometimes they're gonna have big production, and sometimes they're gonna be quiet, but it's always a constant fight to get them the football. Last year against Detroit, Devontae didn't have any catches. Right. The next week he had an unbelievable game. Right. So that's what happens sometimes on teams that are really, talented with the skill players like we have here. But what it takes is a guy or guys that are selfless, that care about the success of their teammate and care about the ultimate goal, which is winning. And I think we got those three guys are very selfless in their approach and how they play this game.
Nick, what's impressed you the most about DeAndre since he got here?
Yeah, I think he's just got this amazing ability to get the ball, make a cut, and then accelerate again. I think that you don't see that unless you're in person with him and watching that happen, over and over again. I've said this before. I don't know if I've said this to you guys. He has the ability to. it's very similar to what I thought Jamal Charles had when my time with him, that the ability to cut and accelerate. And that's what I'm not comparing one to the other, just that aspect of the game reminds me a lot of that. Boom, I can make a miss, and then I can accelerate before the defense closes in on me because I've stopped my feet to make you miss. So that's been really impressive. He's tough. You know, I felt like there was the play last week. I'm like, oh man, they got us, right? And he somehow made a 7-yard carry out of it, or it was actually on a pass. Somehow he made a 7-yard reception out of it. And so, man, he's a really good player. We're looking forward to his continued success and trying to get him the football as well. But I think that's the main thing, Rube, is what I just said with the comparison to Jamal in that aspect.
As I'm sure you know, the TV copies of the game have shown animated sidelines for you guys. What's your view on that? Do you view it as a good thing because of passion and competitiveness, or do you want more composure? How does that?
I guess I'm animated, and a lot, right? And so I don't think I can be animated on the sideline and then ask anybody else not to be. I think that's part of the game. Emotion's part of the game. Getting to the root of the problem's part of the game, and it happens just like you have a way to have a coaching point. Sometimes it's going to be delivered with a smack on the butt. Sometimes it's going to be delivered with a yell. Sometimes it's going to be delivered, whatever it is, right? The same way it can happen with animation on the sideline, right? And so to me, that's healthy. And when you're connected and when you're together, right, the only thing that matters is that we're getting better from it. But emotion, shoot. Man, if I had to take emotion off out of our sideline, I'd have to go sit in the press box. So, and I don't see many head coaches doing that. So, yeah.
I'll get you a seat.
All right, Joe.
Thanks.